Hi everybody, Laura here from My Favorite Things. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a project to share with you for all the dads out there, and this one features several of the new May release products. So let's dive right in. I've got the full-size Misty here. I'm taking out that foam pad because I'm going to stamp a big background cling. So I'm adhering a panel of Neenah Solar White cardstock. This is the Itsy Bitsy Polka Dots background cling, and this is what I'm going to emboss and clear onto this panel of white cardstock. So first things first, when you're embossing, always got to prep it up, and I am rubbing it down with a magic powder bag, and then I'm going to ink up the Itsy Bitsy. I just want to break out in song every day. Itsy Bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. I don't know why everything sparks a song in my head, but it does. So I apologize in advance if that annoys you. I try to rein it in, but sometimes it just squeaks out. You know what I mean, the songs? So now moving on, pouring on some clear embossing powder onto the background stamped panel. I like to pour this over a sheet of vellum or scrap cardstock or whatever is handy, that we can funnel it right back into your container. Once I get good coverage with the embossing powder, I'm going to heat it with the heat gun till it's all evenly embossed. And now we're moving on to my favorite part, the ink blending. I've got this awesome new stencil. It's a Basic Shapes Circles stencil, and I'm going to ink blend over top of the polka dotted, the Itsy Bitsy polka dotted embossed panel. So you get the circles, it's like pattern on pattern. Love it when that happens. So I'm starting with Twisted Citron using Distress inks, but any inks will work. I'm telling you, any inks will work. Dye, pigment, what have you. Just use the colors you love and you'll love it. Okay, see, I made a little boo-boo there. My Twisted Citron got over on the side, but I'm going to cover that up with another ink blended circle so no one will ever know the difference. Now, I feel like I'm using somewhat more masculine colors, just going with the greens and the blues. I felt like that, but you could customize this any colors you want. You want to make it patriotic, you want to make it earth tone, brights, rainbow. You just do whatever toots your flute. Okay, so I'm kind of working my way in the green tones here. I did Twisted Citron, Lucky Clover, Mowed Lawn. I believe this is Peacock Feathers now here. And okay, so what I always like to do when I ink blend, I like to start with a light hand, a light touch, very light pressure. So you tap off the excess and you start with a light hand. You get a nice, even, light base coat. Now you got to start building it up because you want that Emboss Resist to pop through. But then the key is on the bottom, you want to go a little heavier handed. You want to push a little harder, a little more pressure, and that gives you the darker on the bottom using the same color, but it gives you that gorgeous gradient look that I love so much. But my favorite part is the overlap. When you get two circles that overlap each other, that is magic to me. You get the two colors together, what they combine in the middle. Now here I'm doing a little cracked pistachio on this smaller circle, and this happens sometimes when you ink blend. You'll see here when I pull this up, you lose a little bit of that overlap. So I go back in with the larger circle just on the top, just touch it a smidge. And that just kind of revives that overlap so it doesn't get lost. It kind of pumped up the volume of the overlap. And then a few more little circles here and there. As far as composition, I didn't really have a plan. I'm just kind of, see how I go off the edge? I overlap some. I'm keeping in mind where I want to put my sentiment, which we're moving on to now. I have this Dad word die, which is from the Dynamics Dad. You get an all caps one, and then there's also a lowercase Dad. I chose to use the all caps. I die cut it into some green cardstock that I pulled out of my scrap stash and look for colors that would coordinate with my ink blended panel. And then I took a little crushed olive and ink blended on the bottom of that Dad just to give it a little something something. And then I'm going to go ahead and emboss a coordinating sentiment from the All About Dad stamp set. I'm going to emboss this in white onto a kind of a teal sentiment strip, again from my scrap stash, looking for colors that tied in with the background panel. So I'm embossing that in white. Best dad ever. Hard to believe Father's Day is just around the corner. We just celebrated Mother's Day here, and oh my gosh, my family, they surprised me. And they got me a really, really, you're going to laugh. Well, maybe you won't, but a nice bike. Okay. Did I want a bike? No, I did not. Do I ride a bike very often? Hardly ever. But I'll tell you, this is a nice bike. And my youngest daughter here, oh, by the way, I'm popping up the dad. I lined it using my grid mat. Put Post-it tape on it once it was lined up on the grid mat. And then all you got to do, pop this down, and it's easy peasy. It's straight, evenly spaced. I'm going to go ahead and pop up the sentiment strip. Anyway, my youngest daughter's in 2nd grade, and we live close enough to ride bikes to the school. So guess who's picking her up and taking her on the bike? That would be me. But I got a brand new bike, so it's not too bad. And hey, maybe I'll get in shape. That would be a bonus. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.